Alright guys, so in this video, I'm going to be talking about 2 World Trade Center, which was formally built and completed in the early 1970s. Part of the World Trade Center complex, it was the South Tower that suffered a catastrophic collapse in 2001. It got struck after the North Tower but fell before it. And obviously they have rebuilt One World Trade Center, the multi-billion project taking well over a decade, but what is the current status of 2 World Trade Center located on 200 Greenwich Street? There's been 3 different proposals and 2 main different renderings that I'm going to be talking about. Which one should they go with? Will 2 World Trade Center even be built? Right now, the current status is it is on hold. The new building that's being pitched is 82 stories tall and will have a total height just above 1,300 feet, very similar to the original South Tower in terms of height, just around 20 feet shorter. British architect Norman Foster of Foster and Partners was hired to design the new 2 World Trade Center on the northeast part of the World Trade Center site at 200 Greenwich Street in May of 2006. You can take a look at the first original design by Foster and Partners. The 4 diamonds on the roof would have sloped down towards the memorial, indicating the sites of the original towers on the skyline. The tower was designed to resemble a diamond. The Port Authority of New York and New Jersey said that Foster's design incorporates World Trade Center master planner Daniel Lipskin's wedge of light concept and will cast no shadow on the Memorial Park. The original ground construction started in 2008 for the Foster and Partners design. The building was scheduled to be completed sometime between 2011 and 2016. By May of 2009, the Port Authority was seeking to reduce the size of 2 and 3 World Trade Center and postpone the construction of 5 World Trade Center, citing the Great Recession and disagreements with the final structure. The developer had requested that the Port Authority fund 2 of the 3 towers, but the agency wanted to take control of the 3 World Trade Center site and was willing to provide funding for only 1 tower. Second tower foundation work finally began in June of 2010, but construction was once again halted in August of 2012. The street level foundation was finished by November of 2012, and construction of everything up to the street level was completed in mid-2013. The rest of the building, however, has yet to be built unless tenants for Tower 2 could be found. On June 9th, 2015, Wired magazine reported that 2 World Trade Center would be redesigned by a new architect group and be built by 2021. The bottom half of the new design would have been leased out by the 21st Century Fox and News corporations until they decided against leaving their current headquarters. The new renderings of the 2 World Trade Center were drawn up in May of 2015, and you can see the very intricate design that they ended up putting up, almost like a stepping stone type design. The design featured a terraced structure from an eastern perspective. The building's profile was vertically straight, but appeared to be leaning slightly towards One World Trade Center because of the design. And you can see the distinct futuristic stepping stone type design with the roofs of the stepping stone protruding out, exposing, some areas for people to sit on, some foliage, some greenery. I'm not really a big fan of the contrast where you have this sleek new skyscraper with all the glass. If you combined that with greenery, I think it looks bad. I'm just going to be completely honest. But I do like the stepping stone design. That was a rendering that came out in 2015. That ended up not happening. They ended up returning to the Foster and Partners design. In January of 2020, the original Foster and Partners design was updated, and you can see the renderings which were published in early 2022. And quite honestly, this thing keeps going back and forth. Will it be built? Will it not be built? The more time that's wasted with them trying to get tenants, the lower the chances of this thing actually going up. It's just such a major investment, and then you had them switch back to the original design right when that was happening. The pandemic happens, and not only does that stall everything and put a freeze on all of these type of projects, but especially for something like a skyscraper, the way the pandemic impacted people and their want to go into the office and the need for all of this office space, it's super negative for a project like that. Can they really find the tenants at this point to deem this worth, putting up? It really is sad. You think One World Trade Center, that's what everyone knows at this point. That's kind of the rebuilt area, the North Twin Tower, I guess you could say. But Two World Trade Center, unfortunately, hasn't received much fanfare, and obviously they're not going to rebuild the Twin Towers. It would be two different designs, but it would be cool to see the Two World Trade Center rebuilt, whether it's the diamond design or the stepping stone model. They do look like nice futuristic skyscrapers, but I do have questions considering these renderings date back all the way to 2006. Now, they did update the new diamond renderings you can see in 2022, and I think the previous Foster and Partners original design, the diamond one, is better than this newer one that they released in 2022. The newer one has some weird compartments which kind of looks like there's trees interlaced into the buildings. I can't really explain it, but it seems like a very skinny skyscraper to me. And it really gets dwarfed by One World Trade Center. So to me, I don't think that would be a very good design, but it does seem like maybe it's a design with the budget in mind to cut it back a little bit, because this would be significantly less than the stepping stone design that we saw the renderings back in 2015 for that. But it still is the same thing. It's just a holding pattern. They're trying to find tenants to where this becomes logistically plausible, a massive multi-billion-dollar mega project skyscraper, Two World Trade Center, which really the construction on this started back in 2009, but they ran into so many different problems in terms of finding tenants and getting the renderings off the ground. Nothing has happened when it comes to this site, at least recently. So that is the current update on Two World Trade Center. I would be pretty surprised based on the current sentiment when it comes to office space if this thing actually found a tenant, but you never know. I do think inevitably at a certain point they will do something with building maybe a modified version of it. It would be kind of sad if they built like a half version of it where it only goes up a certain number of floors compared to the One World Trade Center, but that might be what ends up happening. I mean, the diamond design is very clean. It looks good. It looks nice and futuristic, but you can tell the stepping stone was definitely a bigger design and probably a much more costly project, but they are not going to go with that one. Either way, guys, that is the current status of Two World Trade Center. It is on hold, and it has been on hold virtually since 2009. It did receive a little bit of a rejuvenation with the 2022 renderings that were released, but it's still the same news. It's still in a holding pattern. I have seen a few recent articles talking about possible tenants. Can they actually build this thing? I have to see it to believe it personally. I think inevitably something will happen, but I don't know if they're going to be able to build the full multi-billion-dollar skyscraper. Either way, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you're following me on X. Link to that's always in the description.